Hello and welcome back to the S.H.E Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for being with us, Zana.
Thank you for having me.
So excited. And thank you guys for being with us tonight. Please remember that you are live with us tonight, and you are welcome to call us and join the conversation throughout the segment at 312-738-1060. And please also remember that you can reach us through our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net. You can email us, you can call us, and you can always check out all of our previous segments and contact all of our previous guests directly. And after this segment, you'll be able to contact Zana directly as well. So, Zana Carlota Mariño, we have a lot to cover because this woman is amazing and she does so much. And we're so excited and happy to be here. I'm glad that I got the chance to know you and really get to know you and work with you on such a close and personal level and learn so much more about you.
Thank you.
Zana, the way that I met her was she responded to one of our S.H.E Gallery calls for poetry and art for a fundraiser that we're working on later this year. And she tells me, I make art, so she paints. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And there was something in me that said, this girl does something else. She just like, I could just feel it. I'm like, do you do something else? She's like, yeah, I make music. Really quiet about it. Like, yeah, I started with opera and choir, and then I do hip-hop, and I do rock and roll. And I was like, wow. And I had to hear her, and I just fell in love with her music. And I said, okay, you can show your art, but can you also sing? She said absolutely. And then little by little, I learned more about Zana, more about her love for science, biology, nature, how smart she was, all of the obstacles that she had to take to continue to be true to herself. And even though education was not always like allowed, you started with very highly with these very private courses,
Yeah.
and then you kind of like had to learn how to do things on your own, and you really learned a lot about yourself. So I'm gonna let you talk and share a little bit more about your background. She's a true Chicagoan. You're from all over Chicago.
Yep.
And we're going to hear you play some guitar. And we're going to hear a little bit also about the political Zana, because you're also very involved in the political political aspect of yourself, the community, and you help inmates register to vote. And I think that's super, super amazing. And it reflects in your art and in your music and in your writings. So talk to us a little bit more about how you ended up getting into the arts. And what's more important to you, or if the political aspect came before the arts?
So I was born and raised in Chicago. I've always been around art and artists. I think it just took me a really long time to find my voice, and that's okay. Like I said, I was born here, I was raised here, I went to school here, and I, for a very long time, was really focused on being involved in science. I loved science fiction, and I loved all of the like really complicated aspects of science, and like what makes the universe work, and chemistry. And initially I went to UIC as a chemistry major. You know, life kind of takes over, and I was always doing art. I was always like drawing and painting and not really taking it very seriously. But things changed for me, and I decided that I didn't want to go the traditional route anymore. So I started painting, and so here I am today, like doing everything that I felt would come naturally, like comes naturally to me, which is art and music. And I'm still, you know, I feel like I'm just getting started.
And through these arts, you make these art pieces. And like one of the first things that I noticed about her art, when I started getting to know your art, was that you use the vagina as like always your central piece to your work. And then you diagnose this whole idea of how you started drawing from nude magazines when you were younger.
Yes.
You learned how to really draw the body.
Yeah.
But you said this looks too perverse. I don't want it to look perverse. I don't want it just to be like the woman object. I want to give this woman a brain.
Right.
And since you work with all of these women vaginas, and they're political, and they all represent a little part of you, which is really cool and fun.
Yeah.
So let's share some of this work. We're going to share some of this work, and then as we share some of this work, because this really reflects the political aspect of you, can you please talk to us about this piece and your involvement with the voting, with the registrations, with the inmates in the jailhouse, and how you got involved?
So I did this piece actually, like, I want to say 3 years ago. It was before the last presidential election.
A lot of people felt very strong about that.
A lot of people felt very strongly about it. I think it reminds me of the movie Carrie, and like how put on stage and being the prom queen and then getting dumped on is really like what that. I think that, you know, you can go all kinds of ways from that.
Deep. And everybody's pointing at her, if you can see that.
Yeah, and I really have to say that as I became a voting rights activist because I felt really stuck. I felt like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with my energy. I knew I wanted to be involved. I've been told, like, oh, maybe you should run for office. I personally don't think that that's for me, but I think that it's really important for everyone to be as involved as they can be. And so voting rights activism is kind of where I ended up. I always felt very strongly about being counted and for people to make sure that they get out and vote. Even if you don't think that the candidate that you support is going to win, you still need to go out and make your voice heard.
Why the jailhouse?
So I've been working with a nonprofit who does voting rights activism. We started out campaigning for automatic voter registration in Illinois, and we passed that. I was on a few trips to Springfield doing lobbying for that as an activist, and it was really cool. Like,
what this does is it allows, when you go to the DMV now, you automatically put voting, register, so you're kind of registering to vote as you're getting your license, so you don't have any excuse to say, oh, well, I didn't do this or I didn't do that.
Absolutely.
Because now it happens, and these are people like Zana who work very hard to make these changes happen, so thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
So then you get into all of this political work, and then this also reflects a lot of your personal work and your personal writings and some of your personal experiences. Do you want to talk to us a little bit more about some of these other pieces that we have here? Which is the next piece that you worked on?
So I had a couple of other pieces. This one I don't feel like is necessarily political. Oops. But it was definitely how I was feeling at the time. I was thinking about a boy.
About a boy. Damn those boys.
So I have like a lot of different personified body parts in much of my work other than the vaginas. The mouthpiece is always kind of like a very menacing character, and a lot of my work for different pieces, and this one specifically is just kind of like pulling my heart through, you know, through my trying to talk me into doing things, or getting me away from where I need to be, taking me by my heart.
That's really strong. And then again, we noticed that you find humor in these very strong, kind of like, you feel strong towards all of these environmental changes.
Absolutely.
And you find humor in them. Yeah. This is one of my favorite pieces. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about what this represents for you? And all of these different colored hands that we have involved here?
I think that as things have unfolded nationally and personally for me, I started to be a little bit more introspective about my art. I was really, you know, just kind of doing cartoons, and it was kind of funny, and I was just trying to do some stuff that was like politically cartoonish, and I started thinking like, oh, I think I need to start doing work that's more reflective of myself, like personally. So I started, so when I did this piece, it was just all about, there is this vagina that's like it's a woman, well, it's not just a woman, it's like, it's an African-American woman, and everybody like kind of going for it, like wanting to touch it, wanting to be a part of it. I think that that's just, and then there's the crown, so there's that royalty aspect and having all the rays coming out of the, there's a brightness, there's something really, I don't know.
Sacred, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
It's like a religious painting almost.
And that's another thing that's been really big in all of your art making and in your song making has been this biracial you, right?
Yeah.
It helped you find who Zana is. So what has it been like for you growing up as a biracial child? And what have you gotten to appreciate about it greatly?
I think that being biracial, and my mother is African American, my father is Mexican, and you don't really think about being, you know, like one thing or the other. You just figure you're both. And there are parts that, right, and there are things that you understand about one side and there are things that you understand about the other side, and really the hardest part is really just kind of navigating through society and the labels and the just your identity as one person. Like, you know, how am I supposed to be represented in the world, or how do I represent myself?
That's tough.
So yeah, and that's always been like a big thing for me. And I've been embracing it more recently, I think.
How would you say that your music and your theater production has helped you find these appreciations towards both cultures?
I think that I've always had an appreciation for both cultures. I haven't had the opportunity until recently to embrace it in a way where I can express myself. Being in the play that I was in, and last December I was a part of a production that was put on called A Great Day. It's a Great Day in the Neighborhood, which was
very Chicago.
Yeah, it's very
cool.
Chicago. It was a production that included lots of Chicago voices, and it was an jazz production. It's an all-black cast, or primarily. And it was focused on a neighborhood that was in Chicago. It was based on a Langston Hughes poem called Go Ask Your Mama. And basically what happens is there's a young boy and he gets in trouble with the law, and the whole neighborhood has him on trial. I felt like it was, as far as being, you know, relating to how I processed my art and my identity, I felt like this is so cool. I get to be a part of this. I know what to bring to this, you know, like I'm a black person.
I know the community.
You know? And I get, yeah. So, but I've always had issues with like trying to fit into both sides. I feel like there's like, you know, a lot of political animosity between the two. And it was really, really cool. It was really important to me, and I was really happy with the way that everything turned out. I was very proud.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
We look forward to hearing more about you in the future with your theater productions.
Yay,
and then you've been making music for a long time.
Yeah.
You taught yourself how to play the guitar. You've been doing that for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Music is very much in you, and it's something that helped you heal during some very difficult times. You explored yourself through yourself, healing through music therapy. You use that as a power tool.
Definitely.
Before you were recording, that's when you found out exactly who you were and who you wanted to be, just by listening to some of your favorite influences, listening to some of your favorite records.
Absolutely.
You really found yourself during some very difficult times where it was like you were kind of cut off from this when you had started doing that, and you're like, well, now what do I do? And you always taught yourself, either through Bob Ross on television or through your musical records or YouTube, whatever it was that you used. What was it in you that never let you stop? And why do you keep doing it? Like, what is it in you that moves you and moves you through all of these different mediums and working through these different arts?
I think it's really hard to put a finger on what resilience means, other than, you know, just the feeling of not wanting to give up, the feeling of not wanting to feel like a failure, the feeling of wanting to express yourself and feeling like you have something to say, that your story is important, and that you want other people to see that, hey, like, you're here, and there are people out there who are probably just like you that want you to tell that story also. I feel like within the last year, a lot has happened, and I've felt more and more confident about bringing that forward.
And I could see
than
that.
ever before.
Yeah, I could see that just in the making of the music. I had the chance to listen to you in the recording studio.
Oh, yeah.
I had the chance to listen to you just practicing at home, and I was like, Zana, that's good, but there's more in you, because I heard that in you before when you were extremely free and you were like, and I was like, holy crap. And then she did this other mock-up, and I was like, no, there's a lot more in you.
I feel like I'm conjuring up all the spirits of my
your
ancestors.
Yeah, you can feel that, and it's so beautiful. So today she comes over and she practices before she comes here, and it's like a whole new person in a very short amount of time. And what's happened is, you start doing all of this very introvertly, and you're working just kind of on yourself, and then very recently you start performing. You want to talk to us about your performance after we talk to this caller?
Sure.
Hi, caller. Thanks for calling. You have a question?
Hi there.
Oh.
Zana Marino, how are you?
Good.
This is
How are
Zana's
you?
Mom. This is Zana's mom.
Yeah.
Hello, Zana's mom. Are you so proud of your daughter?
Yes, I am so proud of her. I really am. And I was just wanting to add one thing about children that are biracial. My daughter, she was having issues with it, and I told her that there were a lot of black Hispanics throughout the world, and that she wasn't the only one. So we started keeping up with different people that she knew that, there were celebrities like Celia Cruz.
Celia Cruz, we're talking about her. We were just talking about her.
I love her.
Some of these great people.
And she was keeping up with the idea of talking about black Mexicans and how rarely you hear about them.
Yeah.
And now they're supposedly counting in the census in Mexico, and that they actually do exist, and that she's not the only one.
Mexico, yeah. It's huge. Representation is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is important to see yourself and other people outside your immediate family.
Yeah. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add something real quick. Of
course.
And then I go, because my daughter knows I can talk a mile a minute. But
we can talk, for a long time.
Like she said, we've been in Chicago, my family has been in Chicago a long time. And her great-grandfather was a ragtime musician.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where she got that musical influence from.
He was a ragtime musician, yeah. His name was Will Dixon.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked
At the
about
turn of the
him.
last century, yeah.
We did talk about him.
1900.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
1930.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to tell you how nice you looked, and you sound great.
Aw, thanks,
Thank
Mom.
you. That's so sweet. Thank you. That's awesome.
I was trying to keep up. If I had known you were showing your artwork, I would have given you the 2 pieces that you have.
It's fine. Next time.
Yeah, okay, then. All right, then I'll let you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
That's
care,
so
lady.
sweet. Proud mom. You have a lot to be proud of. We're proud of you too. So
Take care,
you
lady.
took all
Good
these
night.
risks, and you're like, I'm gonna do what I love to do. And then not only are you making your drawings, and you're making your paintings, and you're exhibiting, and you're also making jewelry out of these same drawings. You teach yourself how to do that. You teach yourself how to make T-shirts. You teach yourself how to do all of these wonderful things.
Yeah.
And you still write your songs.
I believe I can teach myself to do anything.
And that's really, really inspiring and
She's
important
always
because you
been
can.
like that too.
That's awesome.
She's
So we're just
always been
gonna.
like
We have another caller, and then we're going to just wrap it up because we want to hear Zana play live. So, yeah. Zana, what is your...
I'm sorry. Okay, that sounds great. All right, then. Yeah, she taught herself how to play, yeah.
Is this another caller?
Good evening, Zana.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I just wanna make a point that I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
How do you find the time to work on both music and art and keep yourself political at the same time? Because I know for a lot of people it can seem overwhelming, if you will.
It is overwhelming. The truth is I don't have a lot of time. I just try to fit it in where I can, you know.
So one of the things that you had said was you get bored, so it's easy for you to shift your
I get really bored, so it is easy for me to shift around. I feel like once I get bored with one thing, I want to try something else. When it came to the jewelry, I started just making jewelry because why not? Just try it. Do something different. Yeah.
So balancing time.
Balance is important.
All right, and now we're going to hear you play the guitar. Thank you so much for calling, caller. And we're very excited to hear Zana play on her guitar with one of her original pieces. And then we're going to hear one of her poems. And this is called...
So the poem I was going to... So I feel like I should do it at the end. I'll do this song.
And this is Dwayne.
Yeah, this is Dwayne, my guitar Dwayne. I don't know if we'll have enough time for the poem, but I'll do the song first. Lately I've been feeling like I got to laugh to keep from crying. Everyone eyeing their constellation prize, wanting this world to move, fit inside this groove. So I laugh to keep from crying, to keep from when you wake up, is your mind made up? If you're under their spell, time will tell you. Got to laugh to keep from crying.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's hear your poem really quick. Thank you guys for being with us. We'll see you guys next week.
In this world I've made, a sunset lasts all day. In this world I've made always a perfect bubble bath. In this world I've made the sunset lasts all day. And I've got brand new sheets, and I can smell your love on me.
You're beautiful. Thank you so much. See you guys
Thank you for
next week.
having me.